So, have you ever wondered what happened to Red Faction Guerrilla? I've been playing it a lot recently, and in my opinion, it has probably the best destruction I've seen in any game I've played. But why, if it was such a fun and unique game, has it never received a sequel? Welcome back! Well, today we'll take a look why it disappeared and if we can expect a sequel in the future. This game was made in 2009, and at the time you had a lot of open world games, but they mostly involved around exploration, combat and mission structures. So what made this game really stand out is its destructibility. You could literally blow up a bridge, resulting in it falling on a convoy, or topple an entire radio station, resulting in everything under it to crumble as well. Even today, in 2025, few games have the same level of destructibility as Red Faction. And because of that, the game really had a cult-like following, so why did it suddenly fail? Well, after Guerrilla, the follow-up, Red Faction Armageddon, was more of a linear sci-fi shooter than the destructibility and the open world from the first games. So it quite literally stripped out the main feature fans were excited for, which was the sandbox-like destruction and the freedom. And unsurprisingly, this didn't fit well. Critics felt like the soul of the game was taken out. THQ, the publisher at the time, was already in financial trouble, and the underperformance of Armageddon really didn't help. And by 2012, THQ went bankrupt, and unfortunately Red Faction Guerrilla was one of the IP caught in the fallout. And because of that, the rights to the game went to Nordic Games, which is THQ Nordic now. But no true sequel games have been made by them. Only some remasters and re-releases. So let's take a look at an article here from The Gamer, which was published in June 2024, and which reads, Embracer reportedly axed the Red Faction Guerrilla sequel. They say that the groundwork for a new faction game was reportedly being laid out, which implies that there were plans to make a new game. Unfortunately though, that revival was shut down, and it was being pitched and had the bones of being a worthy successor. And allegedly, the game's story would have taken place 100 years after the events of the original game. The protagonist was planned to be a female, so a new protagonist, and there would be a number of factions available to forge alliances with. Which sounds like the system in Fallout and would be a really cool addition. And the open world would be a more terraformed and colorful Martian world map of similar size to the previous game. Allegedly, there were also ideas for stealth infiltration with disguises and vehicle customization features. And apparently the team had even hopes for a dynamic dialogue system, in which the NPCs could comment on how you approach a particular quest. After they worked on these features, a trailer was formed, and it reportedly had been pitched on several occasions, though ultimately a 50-50 split on whether they should make the game ultimately doomed this project, which resulted in an entire group of creative people who poured their hearts into a project, even going as far to cosplay the characters in a pitch, lost their jobs. So it's safe to say the game came very close to being developed, but came to one of the worst fates it could have had. So the disappearance wasn't just about one bad game, it was about publisher instability, bad timing, and also a risky design shift. But there's still potential for a return to the series. Definitely if they lean more into what made Guerrilla great and step away from Armageddon, but destructible environment in games is oddly rare. Few titles have matched the raw, physics-driven destruction of Guerrilla, but you have a few games like Teardown and Battlefield, which shows that there's still a niche and an appetite for destructible environments. And with the current modern hardware and physics engines, the potential for a game like this could be unlimited. And the IP is currently held by THQ Nordic, as I said, and this publisher is known for reviving old IPs. So the rights really are in hands of someone who could make it happen again. And with the nostalgia cycles bringing everything back these days, from Dead Space to Alone in the Dark, if the demand is loud enough, a Red Faction Guerrilla could be in the cards. And even now, people are still returning to the game because there's really nothing like it. I mean, you can just go around for hours just finishing the missions and seeing what you can do and in which ways you can destroy the environment. It's just a really fun game to mess around in. Even with the aged visuals, it's just a game that doesn't need to be perfect, right? It isn't about the visuals, it's more about the gameplay. The game took place on Mars, and this setting provided the perfect backdrop for the game. The planet was overrun with the oppressive EDF force, the Earth Defense Force, and you basically played as Alec Mason and you had to take over these bases. And while the narrative wasn't anything major, it was just enough to keep you playing and invested in the destruction. And I also think that Red Faction Guerrilla had an impact on other games like Just Cause with its destructible environments and bases, and maybe even Minecraft. But if I had to pick one thing that could be better or improved from the last games, is the structure variety. After a while, I kept recognizing the same structures, buildings and pipes, which made exploring new bases less fresh. But with all of that said, if we see a Red Faction 4, remains uncertain. But the legacy the series had speaks for itself. But until then, the hope has to stay alive by the fan groups and by the videos. And hopefully one day we'll return to the planet of Mars. So let me know what you would want to see from a Red Faction revival. Until next time, and thank you for watching.